Hey, I'm Jules. I'm a Canadian who's worked in the cannabis industry for the past 5 years, and I'm living here in northern New South Wales, near Byron Bay in Australia. And I'm here today to show you how to make some CBD coconut oil. So there's a number of different ways that you can make CBD oil at home. The method that we are doing today is with the MCT coconut oil and using the MagicalButter Machine to infuse it with. There are a number of different ingredients that you'll need. First, you'll need obviously the MagicalButter Machine. You'll need a filter. These can come in different microns, but around 190 I think this one is. That one's fine. You'll need a mixing bowl, the silicone glove, or at least some sort of oven mitt to keep your hands cool, a spatula. You will need the magical decarb box with the temperature probe, measuring cup, a teaspoon, 7 to 14 grams per cup of high CBD or regular cannabis flower. You can use flour or trim. However, if you do use flour, the product will result in a bit of a higher quality. And then the last two ingredients you'll need are the sunflower liquid lecithin and the liquid coconut MCT oil. Now, the reason we're doing sunflower liquid lecithin as opposed to, say, dry soy lecithin is because the liquid lecithin holds a higher fat content, so that will bind better with the cannabinoids in the flower you're wishing to infuse. On top of that, it's a little bit less processed than soy lecithin. It's cold pressed, which is nice. And then the reason why we're using MCT oil over coconut oil is because it has less of a taste. So if you want to infuse any gummies or edibles with it, it's really great. And it does have a longer shelf life. However, it's good for edibles like gummies and stuff like that. But if you're making edibles such as chocolates, anything a bit harder, then regular coconut oil might be better just for the consistency. But yes, for this video, we're gonna do the refined coconut oil, and yeah. All right, so our first step to make CBD coconut oil is we need to decarboxylate our flower. So we are using the magical decarb box here that comes with a temperature probe. This is a really great way to decarb because it's a very accurate and consistent way, and it protects it against light and heat degradation. If you don't have these, that's totally fine. You can just use a pan with some foil, or if you don't even have foil, you can just put it straight on the pan. Now we are using a high CBD flower today, so we will use 7 to 14 grams per cup of oil in our MagicalButter Machine. So we're going to use 7 grams today per cup of oil, and we are cooking it at 135 degrees Celsius for about 60 minutes, and that will activate the CBD cannabinoids in the flower. If you're using a regular cannabis strain and your purpose is to extract THC, you will cook it at a bit of a lower temperature, about 120 degrees Celsius for about 30 to 40 minutes, and that should activate it. So step one is we will take this lid off. This is 14 grams, so 7 grams per cup of our high CBD strain, and you put it straight in there. So you don't want to actually break it up or grind it, and that is because when you put it into the MagicalButter Machine, that will actually grind it up for you, and when you decarb, keeping it as a whole flower will actually protect some of the phytonutrients or the cannabinoids in the flower. So once that's in there, you just want to put the lid on, make sure it's sealed on all sides. You're just going to take this temperature probe, put it straight in this hole here. Now you don't want it to touch the bottom, so you want to bring it up just so it's about halfway through. You have your temperature probe here. If you just click that, it should turn on. You want to set it to 135, and this is for CBD. And that shows you the current temperature there. So just want to throw this in the oven, and it has a magnet, you can just put it there. Alrighty, and then once it reaches 135 degrees, it'll start beeping, and once it reaches that temperature, then you can set your alarm for 60 minutes. Now the temperature will fluctuate up or down 10 degrees, which is completely normal. as long as it's not going way below or way too high for too long. And other than that, you just wait for 60 minutes and then we'll pull it out and continue with our process. All right, so my 60-minute timer has gone off, so we're gonna take our decarb box out of the oven now, using our Magical Butter silicone glove. If you don't have one of these, you can just use an oven mitt or something to protect your hands because the glove or the box will be quite hot when you pull it out. So you just want to pull it out, and you'll want to set it on the counter, take the lid off, and just let the flower cool until room temperature. Now, please note that if you didn't dry and cure your cannabis before putting it in the oven, it will take a little bit longer to decarboxylate, up to 90 minutes, depending on how wet the material is. But if it is dried and cured, 60 minutes for a high CBD strain is great. So now we're gonna let it cool down. This is an important step because it preserves the phytonutrients or cannabinoids in the flower prior to extracting. So once this is cooled, then we'll set up the Magic Butter Machine for the infusion. All right, so now that I have taken my flower out of the oven and let it cool to room temperature, we are ready to start the infusion process. So you'll just want to take your butter machine here, take the head off, pour your decarbed flower into the machine, and then you'll want to take 2 cups of your MCT or your coconut oil, depending on which you want to use. Should we cut this part out? Should have taken that top part off. Come on. Yay. Alrighty. So now we have our 2 cups of MCT oil, and you can just pour it straight in the butter machine. And then you'll want to take your liquid sunflower lecithin, and we are going to do 1 teaspoon per cup of oil. So we'll do 2 teaspoons in total. This stuff is very sticky and gooey, so just beware. All right. Now all your ingredients are in the Magical Butter Machine. You are ready to start your infusion. So you'll want to just put the head back on here. You want to plug it in at the base here. And you'll want to set the temperature to 160 degrees Fahrenheit or 71 degrees Celsius. And you'll want to click the 1 hour oil option. Now this will start and you will wait for the infusion to finish. Once it's finished, the machine will start beeping and then you can continue on with your filtering process. So now that our Magic Butter Machine has finished its infusion with the MCT oil, we are ready to filter it. So you can just get your decarb box out of the way, and you will be filtering it into this mixing bowl here. You want to hold the filter with a silicone glove just in case it spills over because the mixture will be quite hot. So you can just hold it like that. So you'll just want to unplug the machine, take the head off, and you'll just take this and pour it straight through. Once you've poured everything in there, you'll want to grab a spatula and just get all the rest of the stuff at the bottom here. All right, and if it does tip over a little bit, you can get a helping hand to hold it for you. So Erin's gonna come help me. You can hold it there, and then you can scrape off the last little bits. before you finish the filtering. All right, so that is ready to go. So with this, you can get a number of different filters as well. You don't need to use just one. You can get a series of filters depending on how much of the material you want to filter out and how fine the microns will be. So for this one, we're just using a 190 micron filter. And with the end of the stuff, you can just give it a squeeze. And there's your finished product. Okay, and now that you have your final product ready, your infused MCT oil, you'll want to store this in a nice, dry, dark place. You can pour this back into this bottle here or any sort of jar to store it. I put mine in the fridge. It's the easiest way to store it. You don't need to. On the shelf is fine, but putting it in the fridge will prolong the shelf life a little bit more. So now that you have your finished product, I hope you enjoy. Okay, 1 down. Oh no, 2 down. We just have our butter now. Cool.